An unexpected field trip. Professor Xyloth's 3 eyes gleamed with excitement as he faced the crowded lecture hall. His Xenobiology 101 class was always a lively mix of species from across the galaxy, but this semester's group seemed particularly spirited. The chatter died down as he cleared his throat, his voice amplified by the translators embedded in each student's auditory receptors. Greetings, everyone. I have a thrilling announcement to make about our next field trip. Xyloth paused for dramatic effect, enjoying the confused looks on his students' faces. Field trips were rare in galactic academia, reserved for only the most critical hands-on learning experiences. A clawed hand shot up from the front row. It belonged to Kragner, a burly Chronix warrior whose species was known for their thick, armored hides and love of combat. Professor, don't tell me we're going to visit another bioluminescent fungus farm. The last one was about as exciting as watching star dust settle. Xyloth chuckled, his laugh echoing through the auditorium. Oh no, Kragner. This field trip will be far more educational. We're going to visit a Class 13 death world. Gasps and murmurs erupted from the students. Death worlds were the stuff of legends, planets so hazardous and unpredictable that even the most advanced species feared to tread there. Which one, Professor? Asked a shimmering Lumina student, her crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy. Earth, Xyloth replied, his voice dropping to a dramatic whisper. Specifically, a region the humans call Australia. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Students leapt from their seats, shouting questions and objections. Kragner's booming voice cut through the chaos. Earth? That backwater planet of weaklings? Ha! I could conquer it with one arm tied behind my back. Xyloth fixed Kragner with a stern glare. Do not underestimate the humans, young warrior. They have survived and thrived on a world that would kill most of us within minutes. As the uproar continued, a quiet voice spoke up from the back of the hall. Professor? If I may. All eyes turned to Liam, the lone human exchange student in the class. He was a lanky youth with a mop of unruly brown hair and a nervous smile. Ah, Liam! Xyloth exclaimed. Perfect timing. As our resident Earth expert, perhaps you could share some insight into your planet's unique challenges? Liam swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the class's attention. Well, you see, Australia is kind of different. Even for Earth. It's got some of the most dangerous animals on the planet, and the environment can be pretty unforgiving. Kragner snorted derisively. Dangerous animals? Please. I've hunted Croxian deathclaws for sport. What could Earth possibly have that compares? Liam met Kragner's gaze, a flicker of defiance in his eyes. Ever heard of the Sydney funnel web spider, mate? It's got venom that can kill a human in minutes. And it's just one of the many lovely critters waiting for us in the outback. Professor Xyloth clapped his hands, drawing the focus back to himself. And that, my dear students, is precisely why we are going to Australia. To witness firsthand the incredible resilience and adaptability of life on Earth. To see how a species like humans can thrive in the face of constant mortal peril. The class fell silent, the weight of Xyloth's words sinking in. Liam shifted uncomfortably in his seat, wondering if he'd made a mistake in speaking up. He had a feeling this field trip was going to be even more eventful than the professor anticipated. As Xyloth launched into a detailed explanation of the logistics and safety precautions for the trip, Liam couldn't shake the sense of unease growing in his gut. He'd grown up hearing stories about Australia's deadly creatures, but he'd never actually seen one in person. And now he was about to lead a group of overconfident aliens right into the heart of the outback. He glanced over at Kragner, who was leaning back in his seat with a smug grin on his face. The warrior clearly thought this field trip would be a cakewalk. Liam just hoped he wouldn't have to scrape bits of alien exoskeleton off the bottom of his boots when all was said and done. The class ended in a flurry of excited chatter and nervous energy, with students rushing off to prepare for the upcoming adventure. Professor Xyloth pulled Liam aside, his 3 eyes narrowed with concern. "Liam, I know this trip may be a bit overwhelming for you. I want you to know that I have complete faith in your abilities as our guide and ambassador." Liam nodded, trying to look more confident than he felt. "Thanks, Professor. I'll do my best to keep everyone safe and show them the true wonders of Earth. I just hope they're ready for the reality of Australia." Xyloth smiled enigmatically. "Oh, they may think they're ready. But as you said, Earth is different. This field trip will be a humbling experience for many of them. And perhaps, a chance for you to shine." With those cryptic words, the professor strode off, leaving Liam alone in the empty lecture hall. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. This was going to be one hell of a field trip, that was for sure. He just hoped he'd make it back in one piece, with a newfound appreciation for his home world's deadly charms. Little did Liam know, the true test of his abilities, and the mettle of his alien classmates, was yet to come. In the unforgiving heart of the Australian outback, they would all learn just how deadly a tiny Earth creature could be. And how much they still had to learn about the tenacity of the human spirit. Welcome to the outback. The scorching Australian sun beat down mercilessly on the alien students as they materialized in a shimmering haze of teleportation energy. Professor Xyloth had warned them about the harsh conditions, but nothing could have prepared them for the reality of Earth's unforgiving atmosphere. Kragner was the first to regain his composure, his armored exoskeleton gleaming in the bright sunlight. "This is it? This is the great Class 13 Death World?" he scoffed, kicking at the red dirt beneath his feet. "I've seen harsher environments in my hatchling nursery." Liam rolled his eyes, already sweating beneath his light cotton shirt. "Just wait, big guy. The outback has a way of humbling even the toughest warriors." As if on cue, a massive red kangaroo bounded past the group, its powerful hind legs propelling it across the barren landscape at breakneck speed. Several students yelped in surprise, their various appendages flailing in panic. Professor Xyloth chuckled, his 3 eyes scanning the horizon with rapt attention. "Ah, the famous Australian kangaroo. A marvelous example of Earth's unique evolutionary adaptations." Kragner snorted derisively. "It's just an overgrown rodent with legs. I could take it down with one claw tied behind my back." Liam shook his head, a wry grin spreading across his face. "I wouldn't recommend it, mate. Those roos can be pretty feisty when provoked. Best to admire them from a distance." As the group trekked deeper into the outback, the alien students began to feel the full weight of Earth's gravity and the oppressive heat. The Lumina student's crystalline form began to pulse erratically, her luminescent skin struggling to adapt to the harsh sunlight. "Professor, I don't know how much more of this I can take," she whispered, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "My core temperature is approaching critical levels." Xyloth placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, his voice soft with understanding. "I know it's difficult, but this is all part of the learning experience. Take a moment to rest and hydrate. The humans have a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Liam couldn't help but chuckle at the irony of the statement. In Australia, there were plenty of things that could kill you, and they often came in the most unassuming packages. As they set up camp for the night, Liam took a moment to survey their surroundings. The outback stretched out before them in an endless expanse of red dirt and scrubby bushes, the distant hills shimmering in the heat haze. It was a stark, unforgiving landscape, but one that held a certain rugged beauty. Kragner, however, seemed unimpressed. He lounged against a gnarled tree, his exoskeleton barely dented by the rough bark. "I still don't see what all the fuss is about," he grumbled. "Where are these deadly creatures you promised us, human? All I've seen so far are some hopping mammals and a few measly insects." Liam exchanged a knowing glance with Professor Zyloth. Patience, Kragner. The outback is full of surprises. And trust me, you don't want to go looking for trouble out here. As the twin moons of Zyloth's home world rose over the outback, casting an eerie glow across the landscape, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that trouble was already looking for them. He'd heard stories of the funnel web spider's deadly venom and lightning-fast strikes. He just hoped they'd be lucky enough to avoid an encounter with one of Australia's most notorious killers. But as he drifted off to sleep, the distant howls of dingoes echoing across the plains, Liam knew that luck was a fickle thing in the outback. And with a group of overconfident aliens to wrangle, he had a feeling he was going to need all the luck he could get. The next morning dawned bright and hot, the sun's rays already baking the parched earth. Professor Zyloth roused the group early, eager to begin their search for the elusive funnel web spider. Now remember, students, he cautioned, his voice low and serious. The Sydney funnel web is one of the deadliest spiders on Earth. Its venom is fast-acting and potent, capable of killing a human within hours if left untreated. A ripple of unease passed through the group, even Kragner shifting uncomfortably on his massive feet. Liam nodded grimly, shouldering his backpack full of anti-venom and first aid supplies. The key is to stay alert and watch your step, he said, scanning the ground for any signs of spider burrows. These little buggers can hide just about anywhere, and they're not afraid to take on creatures 100 times their size. Kragner scoffed, flexing his claws menacingly. I'd like to see one of these tiny terrors try to take me on. I'll crush it beneath my heel like the insignificant speck it is. Liam shook his head, a wry smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Famous last words, mate. Trust me, you don't want to underestimate these spiders. They may be small, but they pack one hell of a punch. As the group fanned out across the scrubby terrain, Professor Zyloth's 3 eyes gleamed with anticipation. Ah, to witness firsthand the incredible adaptations of Earth's deadliest predators. This is the kind of hands-on learning that Xenobiology 101 is all about. Liam couldn't help but feel a twinge of pride at the professor's words. For all its dangers, there was something undeniably thrilling about introducing these aliens to the wonders and horrors of his home world. He just hoped they'd all make it back in one piece to appreciate the lessons learned. Little did he know, their encounter with the Sydney funnel web was closer than any of them realized. And when it came, it would test not only their physical mettle, but their understanding of the true nature of life on Earth, a world where even the smallest creatures could bring the mightiest warriors to their knees. The crucible of adaptation. The harsh environment of Death Valley had already challenged the alien research team's fundamental understanding of planetary survival. What they were about to discover would completely reshape their perception of biological resilience. As the solar radiation intensified, Vrendak noticed subtle changes in the team's behavior. What had begun as scientific curiosity was transforming into a primal struggle for survival. Lieutenant Coral's bioadaptive exosuit, designed to withstand extreme conditions on multiple planets, was showing signs of strain. Structural integrity at 68%, Coral reported, her voice betraying a hint of concern. Environmental compensation systems are operating beyond projected parameters. Thrawn, the team's senior analyst, began cross-referencing their current situation with historical human adaptation records. The data was unlike anything in their extensive galactic database. Humans hadn't just survived in Death Valley, they had mapped it, studied it, and even developed entire communities within its unforgiving landscape. A distant movement caught Vrendak's attention. At first, he assumed it was a mirage, a trick of the intense heat and light. But the figure was real. A human, wearing minimal protective gear, was walking towards their research module. Incoming biological entity, Coral announced, her threat assessment protocols activating. The human approached with a casual confidence that seemed completely at odds with the environmental conditions. Dressed in lightweight clothing, carrying what appeared to be a simple water container and a communication device. The individual moved with a purposeful stride that defied the 56-degree heat. Impossible, Thrawn muttered, his computational systems running multiple scenario analyses. No known biological entity should maintain locomotion under these conditions. As the human drew closer, Vrendak activated the team's universal translation matrix. The individual, a female with dark skin and a weathered but friendly expression, raised a hand in greeting. "Research team," she called out, her voice clear and unaffected by the oppressive heat. "Noticed your landing. Thought you might need some local insights." Vrendak's secondary neural cluster processed the interaction with intense fascination. This was not a rescue attempt, nor was it an aggressive approach. It seemed to be a genuine offer of assistance. "We are conducting planetary research," Vrendak responded, carefully modulating his communication frequencies. "The environmental conditions are challenging." The human, who introduced herself as Dr. Rodriguez, a local environmental researcher, laughed. It was a sound that seemed to contain multiple layers of meaning. "Challenging? This is just Tuesday for us." What followed was a demonstration of human adaptation that would become legendary in the Galactic Research Consortium's archives. Dr. Rodriguez began explaining the intricate methods humans had developed to not just survive, but thrive in extreme environments. Water management techniques that seemed to defy known conservation principles. Clothing technologies that provided cooling and protection with minimal resources. Physiological adaptations that allowed controlled sweating and heat dissipation. "Humans don't conquer environments," Dr. Rodriguez explained, pointing to a series of geological markers. "We negotiate with them. We understand them. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn and adapt." Thrawn's computational systems were working overtime. The human was presenting scientific information, but it was interwoven with a philosophical approach to survival that transcended mere biological imperative. As the conversation continued, the alien research team began to understand something profound about human nature. This wasn't just a species that survived. This was a species that transformed their challenges into strengths, that saw limitation as a starting point for innovation. The heat of Death Valley, which had seemed like an insurmountable obstacle, was now revealed as a complex ecosystem that humans had not just endured, but deeply understood and respected. Vrendak realized they were witnessing something far more significant than a simple planetary research mission. This was a fundamental re-examination of what it meant to be a sentient, adaptive species. "We have much to learn," he murmured, knowing that this single interaction would require years of research and analysis to fully comprehend. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of their education about human resilience. Technological revelation. The encounter with Dr. Rodriguez in Death Valley had been just the beginning of the alien research team's profound journey of understanding human capabilities. As they continued their exploration, the technological insights they were about to uncover would challenge every preconceived notion they had about technological development. Vrendak and his team relocated to a research facility in a region humans called Silicon Valley, a name that initially seemed nonsensical to the alien researchers. What they discovered was a hub of innovation that defied their understanding of technological progression. Dr. Rodriguez, who had become an unexpected guide for the alien team, explained the concept of human innovation. "Technology for us isn't just about advanced machinery," she said, showing them a small device that seemed simultaneously complex and elegantly simple. "It's about solving problems, bridging gaps, and imagining possibilities." The device in her hand, a smartphone, became a focal point of intense study. Thrawn's computational systems worked tirelessly to decode its capabilities. It wasn't just a communication tool. It was a miniature ecosystem of problem-solving technologies, combining computation, communication, navigation, and creative expression in a single, compact unit. "Your technology doesn't just serve a function," Vrendak observed, "it anticipates needs." The alien team was introduced to concepts that seemed to defy their understanding of technological development. Adaptive algorithms that learned from user behavior. Artificial intelligence systems that could interpret complex human emotions. Communication technologies that could translate languages in real time, breaking down barriers of understanding. But what truly shocked the researchers was how humans approached technological challenges. Each innovation was not just a technical solution, but a narrative of human creativity. A medical device wasn't just about healing, it represented a story of empathy and care. A communication platform wasn't merely about transmitting information, it was about connecting human experiences. Vrendak watched a demonstration of prosthetic technology that could read neural signals, allowing individuals with physical limitations to regain mobility and independence. The technology was more than mechanical, it was a testament to human determination and compassion. We don't just create technology, Dr. Rodriguez explained, we imbue it with our human spirit. Each innovation carries our hope, our resilience, our desire to overcome. The team's previous assumptions about human technological capabilities were systematically dismantled. Humans weren't just developing technology, they were engaging in a continuous dialogue with their own potential, constantly reimagining what was possible. Thrawn's computational analysis revealed a pattern that defied standard technological progression models. Human innovation wasn't linear or predictable. It was organic, emotional, driven by an seemingly inexhaustible combination of curiosity and empathy. As they explored various research labs and innovation centers, the alien team witnessed technologies addressing challenges from environmental sustainability to medical breakthroughs. Each solution was a narrative of human ingenuity, solving problems not just for immediate gain, but with consideration for future generations and the broader ecosystem. By the end of their exploration, Vrendak understood that human technology was more than a set of tools. It was a dynamic, living expression of human potential, a continuous journey of discovery, adaptation, and hope. We came looking to study a species, Vrendak noted in his research log, and we discovered something far more profound, a civilization that turns limitations into opportunities, and challenges into innovations. The technological revelation was complete. Humans were not just a species to be studied. They were a testament to the extraordinary potential of adaptive intelligence. Redefining galactic perspectives. The final days of the research mission arrived with a sense of profound transformation. What had begun as a routine planetary study had evolved into a fundamental reimagining of sentient potential. Vrendak gathered his team for their culminating analysis, the massive holographic display showcasing the intricate data they had collected about Earth and its inhabitants. Lieutenant Coral's preliminary report flickered to life, displaying a comprehensive overview that challenged every established galactic understanding. Our initial classification of humans as a developing species is fundamentally incorrect, Coral began, her typically clinical tone now tinged with something remarkably close to respect. Humans represent a unique form of adaptive intelligence that cannot be measured by conventional technological or biological metrics. Thrawn's computational systems had been working tirelessly, processing the vast amounts of data collected during their expedition. The insights were revolutionary. Humans possessed an extraordinary capacity for what the team now termed adaptive resilience, a combination of technological innovation, psychological flexibility, and an almost inexplicable drive to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Dr. Rodriguez, who had become an integral part of their research team, presented a final demonstration that would become legendary in galactic research circles. She showed them how humans had responded to global challenges, climate change, technological disruptions, pandemical threats, not with fear, but with creativity and collective problem-solving. Humans don't just survive, she explained, they reimagine possibilities. The research team witnessed examples that defied their previous understanding. Communities developing innovative water conservation technologies in drought-stricken regions. Medical researchers rapidly developing solutions to global health challenges. Engineers creating sustainable technologies that worked in harmony with natural ecosystems. Vrendak's research logs captured the profound realization: humans were not just a species to be studied, but a potential model of adaptive intelligence for the entire galactic community. Our mission was to understand Earth, Vrendak noted in his final report, but we have discovered something far more significant, a blueprint for survival that transcends technological and biological limitations. The implications were staggering. The Galactic Research Consortium would need to completely revise its understanding of planetary development, technological progression, and the very nature of intelligent life. As their research vessel prepared for departure, each team member carried with them a transformed perspective. They had arrived expecting to study a primitive species and were leaving with a profound respect for humanity's extraordinary potential. Dr. Rodriguez accompanied them to the landing site, her casual demeanor belying the revolutionary nature of their discoveries. "Remember," she said with a smile that seemed to contain multiple layers of meaning, "on Earth, the impossible is just something we haven't figured out how to do yet." The quantum drive hummed to life, preparing to breach the vast distances between Earth and their home world. But something had fundamentally changed. They were no longer just observers. They were witnesses to a species that represented the true potential of adaptive intelligence. As Earth grew smaller in their view screen, Vrendak understood that their mission had been about far more than scientific research. It had been a journey of discovery, about humanity, about potential, and about the extraordinary capacity of life to reimagine its own limitations. The galaxy would never be the same.